Just going to give it a few more minutes for more people to arrive. We just started the recording, but just getting it all set up for everyone. Thank you. How's everyone doing tonight? Are you able to unmute your mics and
Yes.
discuss? Let's test that out while we've got a minute.
Okay. I could unmute, but I don't know that my camera's on.
Okay.
So again, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. We have about 25 people registered for this. We only have about 5 of us joined so far. So we just wanted to give a couple minutes to make sure people are able to get home if they were traveling or whatever, get things settled so they could jump on. But in the meantime, we just wanted to kind of introduce ourselves a little bit and welcome you all out. My name is Robert Mills. I'm the planning supervisor here at Community and Neighborhood Services. And joining me tonight and leading this discussion is Hannah Salzal. She's a planner here with us as well. So if you don't have a microphone, that's no problem. Hopefully there'll be some opportunities to either chat with us if you have questions. There will be some interactive opportunities tonight that should hopefully allow you to get some real-time information as we go through this. Hopefully it's an enjoyable experience for all of you, and we just appreciate you being here. I'd say it's 5 after the hour, so let's go ahead and get going.
Ready to jump in? Sorry, if I look sideways, it's because Robert is sitting next to me.
We're sitting next to each other on different screens.
Brady Bunch screens. We also have the presentation up on a separate screen. So if you see me looking up and down, that's just trying to keep up with you guys. So again, thank you so much for taking the time to come. We really appreciate that. It's a great opportunity for us to be able to learn from you how downtown works for you, how it doesn't, how you choose to use downtown. We are recording the meeting, and the recording will be available on the same provo.org/neighborhood plans website where you were able to register for this webinar. Let's get started. I'll pull up that presentation and share my screen.
They already sent out that news thing, so I was kind of like, yikes.
Sorry, just figuring out some technical sharing computers in the same room. Would you let me share my screen? It says it's disabled participant screen sharing. Thanks for your patience, everyone. You're good to go. Okay, as we're talking about the downtown, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Downtown is a lot bigger than just Center Street. Can you see my mouse moving on the screen?
Mhm.
Perfect. All right, so you've got this little bar here. That is Center Street going down to I-15. And this long road here is University Avenue. Just to help you kind of frame that with the tracks running through and the front runner right around here. It is a really diverse area, stretching all the way up to 500 North and the library on this full block. It also includes parts of 8 different neighborhoods, the ones listed on the screen here, and is part of the economic and civic and historic center of downtown and home to hundreds of residents as well. So we're trying to make sure that we represent people in the many different ways they use downtown. It means a lot of different things for a lot of different people. All right, this is for the master plan, which is a long-term planning document that provides guidance for future development and just sets the vision for an area. The last one for downtown was adopted in 2015, and it has been one of the most successful plans for Provo City. Things like moving the city center, bringing in new businesses, creating new housing, the transit opportunities we've had with UVX and similar things like that. We've got Mill Race, Liberty Center, Element 400, all of these new opportunities coming in, which is exactly what we wanted. And as we're starting to meet those goals we set back in 2015, it's time to start looking further ahead and seeing what new goals we want and decide how we want downtown to develop in the next 5 years, which gives us a really great opportunity to hear from you guys about what you think that should be. After this discussion, we'll analyze your responses. None of your data will be individualized. Also, don't worry, it'll all be aggregate. And then we will share it as needed with other departments. We use the data here to form questions for our working groups. They can dig more into the questions and issues you raise here. And then we hope to have a draft of the new master plan out sometime early next year. Do you have any thoughts before we jump in?
That's good.
Okay, let's get to the survey part. This is the fun part. We're going to use Mentimeter for our survey response questions so we can get real-time feedback from you. And you don't need a microphone to do it, so it should work for everybody. If you have questions or technical concerns, feel free to use the Zoom chat for that. Robert is monitoring that. Please don't put your answers to these questions on the screen in the Zoom chat, or we won't have them recorded as part of the aggregate data. So you log in, and it's easier to do this on a second device. By the way, if you have a phone or tablet handy, great. If not, feel free to just go to this menti.com website. Don't feel like you have to jump back and forth between Zoom and here. You're going to see essentially the same things with a lot less clicking.
So it's really easy. If you just have a phone or something, you can bring menti.com up on your phone. The address is up at the top. Somebody's already figured this out.
Yeah.
And you just put in the code, and then you'll be able to see everybody's answers as we go through this exercise. So hopefully all of you will be able to participate with us tonight. We're just going to do this little practice question, get everybody started, familiar with this. Again, if you have any questions, you can unmute or put something in the chat. We just want to make this as interactive as possible tonight.
Yeah. If you're still signing in, you don't need the spaces between this code up top either. Just enter it. The website knows what you're talking about. All right.
And then you'll also be able to follow along on your phone or tablet or other device as we go through these slides. They'll update automatically as Hannah moves through them. So.
Yeah. There will be some answers that are open-ended. After you type them, make sure you hit submit. For the word cloud ones, you'll have the option to submit 3 different words. make sure you type all of the words and then hit submit. Once you've hit submit, your answer is locked. You can't go back and change it and add more to it. There are some other specific instructions for questions, but I'll give those as we get to the question types. Okay, I think we're good to move on. That is the small, we few, we proud. All right, this is a map of Provo just broken down into neighborhoods. You can drag on the screen and drop your little pin approximately where you live. If it's in the same neighborhood or region, that's fine. I get that it's not very easy on a phone. If you don't live in Provo, feel free to just drop your dot on the I don't live in Provo circle. Okay, we're just going to give this another 5 seconds or so. We've got just about everybody. We'll move on. We've just got a few quick demographic questions just to help us better contextualize your answers as we're analyzing them. Again, none of this will be individualized or shared. And I think that's everybody. Great, that was quick. And the next one, with what gender do you identify? We'll give us another 5, 10 seconds. That's everyone. Okay. Getting into the real questions. Now, how often do you come downtown? And some of these might overlap. Like if you work downtown, you're probably going to come down almost daily. Pick whichever one feels most accurate to you. We all live and work downtown here. That's fun. And the 4th participant joins. Great. Okay, moving on. This is one of those word cloud questions where you'll want to type all 3 of your words before you hit submit. What words come to mind when you think of downtown? I like that, vibrant and quaint. Good balance. And we have some questions where we'll invite more discussion and we'll have some time for open discussion at the end too. As you're going along, if there's anything you want to share, feel free to put it in chat or bring it up at the end during the open discussion. And if at any point there's anything you don't feel comfortable sharing, feel free to email me. My email is at the end of this presentation as well. We'll give it 5 more seconds. I like that restaurants is huge also. That is a huge part of the culture here. So hypothetically, you're visiting downtown, you stopped to send a postcard to one of your friends. Which of these postcards would you send? We've got the images larger here than we have on the other slide. So you can choose your image here, and then on the next slide, you'll be able to vote for it. Okay. Moving on now. Which of these postcards would you send? Okay, I think that's everybody. Pretty close call, but hard not to be with 4 people, I guess. So what brings you downtown? And with these sliding bar questions, you can scroll down to each of the categories and keep it on the left if it never applies to you, and drag it to the right if it always applies to you. If it's somewhere in the middle, you can put it anywhere on the range. If it simply doesn't apply at all, there's an option to skip for each category. That will be more relevant in some of the other questions. Here, never might be your best choice on that. Also, all of them can be the same number. You could leave them all to the left at never if you have never been downtown or heard of it. This is your first time seeing pictures. In that case, welcome. I don't know how you found this. We'll give this one a little bit more time. These sliding bars just take a minute. Nice. Okay. Move on. Looks like we do a lot of working and eating down here. That's why I spend most of my time on downtown too.
Mhm.
So in 1 or 2 words, we've got another one of those word clouds. What are some of your favorite changes to downtown in the last 10 years? Think back to 2010, 2011. What do you like that's changed? And I'll give you another minute or so to think about this. It takes some time. More arts, more vibrant, cooler. Yeah, definitely a different atmosphere than they used to be. Example, more housing. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more housing than there used to be. All of these are the same size, which means nobody said the same thing twice, which is kind of cool. Looks like there are some overlap. Okay, let's go on to the next question. These are awesome. What does downtown lack? What is something that you wish were downtown, but just isn't yet? And maybe think of other downtowns that you've visited and things you like there that you'd like to see here.
And always keep in mind that we're talking about the entire downtown area.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily just have to be the Center Street area, but anything basically from Fifth North down to the track station, or excuse me, the front runner station. Anything in that area that you think it would be really cool if we had that in that area. Go ahead and please write that down so we can be aware of those things.
Yeah, and feel free to get as creative as you want. Oh, with these ones, I should mention, you can submit as many as you want. You can type in an item, hit submit, type in another one, hit submit. Feel free to just brainstorm. Outdoor ice skating would be cool. So what a Christmas market. And I do miss the rooftop concerts. I'm going to be honest. Personally, I miss the rooftop concerts. Pocket parks. Very cool. We do love Christmas, yeah. And I don't think that Christmas is something that's really come up a lot in our discussions. So this is why it's great to hear from you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this can be anything from events that come once in a while to permanent things that you would see downtown.
Yep. We'll give us another 10 seconds or so. If you've got any more ideas, fire them off, no limit. Oh, that would do well here. Okay, and this is one where feel free to keep submitting while I'm talking if inspiration strikes. This is one where we wanted to take a sec. Oh, that would be nice. The green space in theaters. Anyway, we wanted to take a sec to have some more open discussion with this. If there are any details you want to share, additional thoughts you have, or maybe if you have questions about what somebody else put down or want to add on that, feel free to unmute yourself. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Or put them in the chat if you don't have a mic. Ooh, outdoor theater and elevated crosswalks. So are you talking like raised ones that go a full story above the street? Is that what you mean by elevated crosswalks? And feel free to answer in the chat or on
I
video.
muted myself.
Hooray!
Yeah. No, so kind of what I mean by that is just sidewalks that are just a little bit higher so they force cars to slow down. So I live on Liberty Center on the top floor. So I look out the window a lot and I see a lot of people almost get hit all the time.
Yeah.
Almost, because then it's like super close calls, right?
Mhm.
Just something to force the cars to slow down as they hit the intersection, because a lot of times when they do the right turns, and I've lived here like 2 years, so I see it all the time, almost daily. They just go the right turn and it's like, boom, they just go. So if there's something to slow them down just a little, I think that'll be better for the pedestrians and just all the businesses in general.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, you bet.
And I want to dig a little bit deeper into quiet hours. I don't know who put that. What sort of hours are you thinking, or would it just be one part of downtown or the whole thing? I'd love some more details. All right. In case they're typing in chat, we'll give them a little bit more time while they do that. Whoever put shopping, hopefully it's not the same person. I'm not overwhelming you with questions, but is there a type of shopping you would like to see more of here, like clothing, furniture, whatever different category? Let's see. More festivals where a few blocks are closed off to cars.
These are all really
Wow.
good. These are all really great suggestions. So, yeah.
This is something we can keep in mind as we're doing more research, digging in.
Cool.
I appreciate your creativity. I think we're going to move on to the next question. Every good thing has its downside. What do you like least about downtown? And this is another where you can enter, I think it's a word cloud, you can enter 3. So make sure you type all 3 before you hit submit. And this map to the side, unfortunately, just with the formatting of the software we're using, cuts out the rest of that green strip heading west down to I-15. But downtown does include that I-15 corridor there on Center Street. Yeah. Interesting. We'll give this about 10 more seconds for everybody else to finish up their answers. Speeding is bigger. It looks like both people put that down. Yeah. I think that kind of goes in with what Gustavo was saying he's seen too. There's a lot of outdoor concerts, like a green space, fast and furious drivers. I like the way you put that. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Is there anything happening downtown that worries you? Ongoing trends or things you see that just don't sit right with you? And feel free to take some time on this one to think, because I get that this takes a little bit of time to look back through the last couple of experiences you have with downtown. So I won't rush you. We'll take about a minute. Panhandling, yeah, just the speedsters really. The words you guys are using to describe these are fantastic, by the way. I appreciate it. The homeless problem, yeah. And this is another one where you can fire off as many as you'd like. There's no limit on the number of answers you can have. And again, if there are ones that you don't feel comfortable sharing, feel free to email me. My email will be posted at the end of the survey. Give us another 15 seconds or so. Okay, let's go on to the next question. When you come downtown, how do you usually get there? And this is just what is most often, it's probably realistically a combination. Do you drive, walk, take public transit, bike, those cool scooters? I think they're cool, I guess. Anyway, I'm not about transit. Drive, walk. And give us another 5-10 seconds. Drive, cool. Next question. If you drive to downtown, where do you park? And if you don't drive downtown, feel free to skip this question. Do you park on the street, in a public parking garage, or in an off-street lot? Off-street makes sense so far. I think most of us here live or work downtown, so. Give us another 10 seconds. Okay, let's go to the next question. Another one of the sliding scales. How strongly do you agree with these statements about paid parking? To the left is strongly disagree. To the right is strongly agree. It can be anywhere in the middle on those. And again, feel free to skip if you simply feel it doesn't apply to you, but I'll leave that to your discretion. And just a heads up, this is another one where I would love to dig into your answers and see why you feel the way you feel about this. So I'll open it for some discussion once everybody's submitted their responses.
Paid parking and parking in general in downtown is something that we hear often at the city, and we hear concerns about it. And there are lots of different ways to address it, but we really just want to know how all of you feel about it, what you would feel comfortable with, what you wouldn't. And so this is really just an opportunity for you guys to weigh in and tell us what you think about parking in downtown Provo.
Okay, maybe some mix. How many attendees do we have right now?
There are 8 people participating in this tonight, so not huge numbers, but we appreciate those of you that did come out.
Yeah, it's great. You can see the number of responses adding up in that bottom right corner. So I just want to make sure we're not skipping anybody. Yeah, I think everybody's answered. So if anyone would like to explain why they answered the way they did, feel free to unmute yourself or explain in the chat.
I guess I'll unmute myself again since, it's the popular thing to do.
Yeah, starting a trend.
That's right. You got to do it. I guess just because I live at Liberty Center, friends come visit me. So I do like the fact that there is parking that's not paid. So I would definitely support still there being some free parking just so my friends don't have to pay to come visit me,
Would you rather have that parking, the freer parking be on the street or in the garages?
Well, I don't know because I'm the closest garage to me. I know that the parking garage, I'm sorry, I mean the street. I know that they usually park right there, but then of course there's the rules, right? During business hours, you can only be there for a certain time, and that's understandable. But later on at night, they can stay there a bit longer. So the street would be okay. So I'm not really, hard on one side or the other. They just usually park on the street as of right now. So
yeah, it seems like you get it from a business side, but from a resident side, you don't want to make your visitors pay to park to visit you. Is that right?
yeah, I don't want to make them have to park to visit me. And I guess, like, for example, like if friends come over and some of them are female and we end a game night or whatever it may be, sometimes I'll walk them to their cars if it's night, just for safety reasons. And it's easier to just walk downstairs to the parking, to the street, as opposed to walking them all the way to a parking garage. So I guess just for the people that live here, it's a good convenience having, that parking right next to our buildings.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that brings up the really good point that we'll talk about later too, that the way that you experience downtown depends a lot on the experiences you've had in the past, on your demographics. Yeah. Okay, does anybody else have any thoughts about paid parking on the street or in the garage? Garages? And again, feel free to put them in the chat. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. Talking about living downtown, if you would like to live downtown, would you prefer to rent or own your place, or either, or you simply don't want to live downtown? And remember, again, downtown encompasses that larger geographic area, kind of that T on the map from 500 North to the beginning of the mall. Own or either. So for those of you with a preference for owning, do you mind if I ask why? that applies to those who said either too, I guess, since you'd be okay with owning. Okay. I'm gonna assume y'all just like weird paint colors your landlord wouldn't let you have. That makes sense. Anyway, moving on.
I guess I can tell you. You're like, it's him again. It's him again. Well, since I live here, this is the coolest place I've ever lived in the history of my life, you know, by far. And I don't see myself moving. If I ever do get married, then I'm just going to insist that we stay here. I mean, it's just a convenience. I mean, you walk a block or two, there's a farmer's market. You walk downstairs, there's restaurants, there's Covey Theater, there's, I mean, ice cream shops, there's dance places. Person's religious, the temple's right there. The Freedom Festival. I mean, literally everything happens downstairs. All you do is just go downstairs. You save so much on gasoline. So it really is incredible to live here. So rent, own, whatever, man. This is the place to be.
I'm glad you found your spot. That's awesome.
That's right.
Okay. Anyone else have any thoughts? Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. If you would like to live downtown, what type of housing would you prefer? Apartment, condo, townhome, or you don't want to live downtown? Again, to the left is no, to the right is, yeah, that'd be great. Okay, pretty close with condos and townhomes, which fits what we saw with the slight majority preferring to own on the last slide. And we'll move forward. How strongly would you agree with these statements? I feel safe walking downtown and I feel safe biking downtown. A few caveats on this. I get that this is a really complicated question because this is a large geographical area. There might be some cases where you feel safe and some cases in other places where you don't. And again, that's going to depend a lot on your demographic and your past experiences. And we'll break this down in a little bit more detail on the next slide. Are you going to say something?
I was, but then you answered.
Each to it.
Yep.
We'll give this another 10 seconds or so. Okay, we'll go to the next question. This is another one of those where you can submit as many answers as you'd like. So if you do not feel safe walking or biking downtown, what would help you feel more safe? And if it's more general, don't feel like you need to specify an area. But if it is specific, like a crosswalk here, or I feel unsafe here, feel free to put that in the comments so we have some more context. And once again, feel free to email me if there's something you don't feel comfortable sharing publicly, but I'll give you some time to think about it. Slower cars. The Vin Diesels of Provo, yes. Yeah. Mhm. There's definitely a theme here. Better protection for bikers makes sense. feel free to keep submitting. Oh, yeah, bikers not respect walkers. Now it's not just cars too, yeah. Feel free to keep submitting answers. For those of you talking about slowing driver speeds, things like that, would you, as a driver, when you drive downtown, be comfortable with those speed slowing measures? Like if we were to do elevated crosswalks or speed bumps or take things down to one lane, so traffic has to go slower. As a driver, would that bother you? Or would you see it as worth it? And again, feel free to answer in the chat if you'd like. Let's wrap this up then. That was our last question. So thank you again so much for participating. As I said, the next steps, we're going to work through and analyze this data, and from the one at 8 o'clock as well. We're also going to assemble a working group, like I mentioned earlier, to dig into some of those details of questions or suggestions that you had here, or concerns or suggestions. If you want to be a part of that working group and are willing to come meet with us every couple of weeks and keep talking about this, we'd love to hear your input. Feel free to send me an email. Again, email's on the next slide. And just give me a brief introduction to who you are, so I know who I'm talking to, and we'll see what we can work out. We'll pass on some info to other departments. This will be part of our update of the master plan coming out sometime next year, which will be part of the general plan revision you might have heard about that's also going on right now. Just a few other things to be aware of going forward. There is a downtown survey that is part of that general plan revision that I mentioned. They're just collecting some slightly different data since they're taking a slightly different viewpoint. The link for that is in the mayor's most recent blog post about exciting things happening downtown. There is a walking tour of the startup district. You can find the details on Facebook if you just put in like startup district walking tour, anything like that. It's on this Saturday morning at 9 o'clock in meeting at the startup building. I will be presenting a little bit about planning in downtown and probably discuss a little bit about what we talked about here. You are absolutely welcome to attend. I'd love to see you again. There's also the City Hall development going on. McWhinney is the developer we're working with for that. We are not on their portfolio website yet, but we should be very soon. So you can check there for more details about what's coming to where we are now, the city center block, once the offices have moved. And the recording will be posted on provo.org/neighborhood-plans, where you went to register for this. Here is that email, hsalzel, that's my last name, Hannah Salzel, hsalzel@provo.org, to share thoughts you didn't feel comfortable sharing or to volunteer to be part of the working group. Also, just again, thank you so much. You really are awesome for taking the time to help us better understand what downtown means to different people. And that is everything that I had planned. We're wrapping up a little bit early. So we've got some time for discussion too. Is there anything that you want to share that didn't come up during the meeting or during the survey? Once again, chat and Zoom are both open to you.
Yeah, if there's anything that we missed or anything additional that you'd just like to say about Provo's downtown area, you're welcome to speak up now. We hope that this is a continuing conversation. We have our emails there. You're always welcome to chat with us via email or give us a call at the city offices. This is an expectation that we will be going through this process in the next few coming months, like Hannah said. And then eventually this will go to the Planning Commission once some of this information and data has been gathered. And you're always welcome to attend those meetings and the City Council as well. So we hope that this will be kind of an ongoing, exciting conversation as we talk about this really cool part of our city. So If there's nothing else for tonight from all of you, we just wanted to say thanks again for participating. There might not be that many of us here, but we really appreciate the input that you've provided and hope that we can hear more from you. So
This was some really creative, great insight. I'm really impressed with you guys. Thank you.
okay, thanks everyone. We'll go ahead and close this.